In 1911, not long after moving to Portland, Oregon, German immigrant Fritz Gubenmeyer would shorten his name to Fred G. Meyer, shortly before going into business with his brother William in order to open a grocery store of the same name in 1922, which over the years would expand across the northwestern American states of Oregon, Washington, Idaho, and eventually reaching up into Alaska. One of the pioneers of the one stop shopping experience, Fred Meyer stores across the years would include multiple different departments within one store, a place where shoppers could buy medicine, clothing, fruits and vegetables, and even home electronics all in one location. Fast forward almost 100 years later to the evening of November 9th, 2015, and after over 2 weeks of staring at them in the back stockroom of the home electronics department, a die-hard Fallout fan would spend the last few hours of his shift selling copies of the newly released Fallout 4 to equally eager gamers, while counting down the minutes until he could go home and play the game for himself. Soon enough, that time would come. He'd clock out, grab his own copy, and head straight home, dusting off his Xbox One, loading the disc into the tray, and watching as the game booted into the startup screen. He'd take his first steps into the future, excited to witness the next chapter of this incredible series. 2015 was a great year to be a Fallout fan. This, of course, is not unique to Fallout 4, as many people experience the same excitement for Fallout's New Vegas, Fallout Shelter, and to a somewhat lesser degree, maybe, Fallout 76. As someone who came into the series during the Bethesda era, I didn't get to experience the anticipation and excitement that came in the months leading up to other entries into the series, such as Fallout 2, Fallout Tactics, and the series' favorite, Fallout Pinball. Over the years since Fallout 4 dropped, and especially since the chaotic launch of Fallout 76, many people have raised valid criticisms of Bethesda's handling of the IP, even as the modding community and the fan community for Fallout New Vegas and Fallout 4 specifically have only seen constant and continual growth and advancement. Needless to say, there's a very love-hate relationship with the series for many people. Nevertheless, the launch of any new content into the series is often met with great anticipation and excitement from the fandom at large, even if there will always remain room for criticism. Even so, 2024 has seen a massive swath of Fallout news. Like, holy shit, there's so much stuff in 2024 that happened around the Fallout franchise. It's fucking insane. We got huge new modding content, Fallout Prime, the community was doing all kinds of awesome things. There was just so much stuff that it would be impossible to cover everything in just this one video. So we'll go over just a few of the biggest moments, and to keep things simple, let's just say that
I got that bug and I can't sleep. Uranium fever has gone and got me down. Uranium fever is spreading all around.
2024 was a turbulent year, to say the least. From the re-election of controversial political candidates to increasingly violent weather phenomenon to the public execution of singer Drake over a 3-month period, every year since the pandemic, it seems that we just stumble from month to month and consider it a victory to make it to the end, as long as we haven't set the world on fire. The video game industry was no different, seeing stunning releases like Astro Boy, Helldivers 2, Black Myth Wukong, as well as new entries into beloved franchises like Dragon Age the Veilguard and Call of Duty 6. Even against the constant din of anti-woke commentary and a few less than successful first impressions, 2024 has been a fantastic year for gaming. For fans of the Fallout series, though, April 2024 brought with it arguably the best Fallout story in the modern era. On April 11th, Amazon released an 8-part Fallout series called, well, Fallout. Though, for cool points, I'll be referring to it as Fallout Prime. This episodic series followed the story of Lucy McLean, a vault dweller from Vault 33, as she leaves her home in order to rescue her kidnapped father, encountering the wasteland's colorful characters, beautiful sights, and nightmarish horrors along the way. I won't be going into extensive detail about the story here, mostly because I already did that in a separate video that you should definitely go check out. What I will say is that despite that fucking chalkboard, the series was received phenomenally well. So well, in fact, that it received over a dozen primetime Emmy nominations and even won an award for its amazing music. Of course, let's be honest, the one thing that every Fallout fan can agree on is that the music in these games fucking slaps.
I got spurs that jingle, jangle, jingle, jingle, jangle.
Fallout Prime was such a hit that it became the #1 most watched show on Amazon within the first 48 hours and would remain firmly in the top 10 even until the time of this video's release. The show had such a positive reception that a second season was announced not too long after the show's initial release, which, to be fair, isn't all that uncommon with most shows, but fuck you, because literally as I'm writing this section, it was announced that Macaulay Culkin is going to be in the second season. Season 1's crowning achievement, however, has to have come from the 2024 Game Awards, where its faithful recreation of the video game series managed to win it Best Adaptation of the Year.
I want to thank the fans of Fallout New Vegas for not burning my house to the ground.
Why are we still here?
While Fallout Prime wasn't a perfect show, overall the first season was received outstandingly well, and fans of the series and the video games are excited for more. What will be seen in the second season as of the time of this video remains a mystery, but just as with the first season, fans are waiting on pins and needles for the next installment. As Fallout fans continue the march towards the release of Fallout 5 in 2032, their manic anticipation is at least somewhat quelled by the constant updates being made to Fallout 76. While the game still stands out as the black sheep of the franchise, Bethesda's constant free updates aid in the years-long effort it took to take this game from one of the worst launches in gaming history to a generally well-received online multiplayer. 2024 saw perhaps one of the biggest updates in the game since the Wastelanders update 4 years prior, which saw the return of human NPCs to the Appalachian Wasteland. The first major update of the year saw us setting out on another expedition, this time to America's playground, Atlantic City. Unlike the previous expedition, The Pit, players could explore multiple different areas of the city, and could even visit outside of events to see the sights, meet the locals, and follow the story of the Russo's family's connection to this far-off coastal pocket of post-war civilization. Plus, we could lose all our money gambling, which is always a plus.
Let's go gambling! Aw, dang it! Aw, dang it!
While being able to casually stroll about the flooded streets of the city center, or explore the dark, spooky boardwalk, this update gave players a fantastic vacation destination. The biggest update, however, would come later that summer with the Skyline Valley update, which opened up an entirely new region of the main game. Strange new wildlife, electrified ghouls, and the ever-present thunderstorm that looms over the ominous Dark Hollow Manor. As exciting as this new update was, though, perhaps an even more exciting update was announced for early next year. For years, one of the biggest features that Fallout fans have been asking for, something present in many other RPGs, including others from Bethesda, was alternative race options. As part of the Skyline Valley update, the story of which heavily revolved around ghouls, it was announced that in early 2025, players could follow an optional questline that would turn their character into a ghoul. While not something that players could choose straight out of the character customization, needing to be at least level 50 in order to access the quest, the fact that the option is planned to be part of the game has sparked great excitement in the community. Even more so seeing how ghouls will have access to specific benefits, such as being resistant to radiation, as well as having access to unique ghoul perk cards that seem pretty powerful overall, especially when paired with radiation. Early in Fallout 76's development, the idea of extreme mutations was played around with. Long-term exposure to radiation mutating players' DNA and eventually turning them into non-humans, with more focused mutations giving the player stronger benefits. While this isn't exactly what we were seeing in the upcoming Ghouls update, it's good to know that the concept is being revisited, and could potentially be a good sign as far as playable races for Fallout 5. As a content creator, My main goal is to create better and better videos with each upload. In the same vein, I am at the mercy of the algorithm, meaning that despite the amount of time and effort I put into a project, the results of my efforts may be wildly different compared to the time spent. Case in point, my most viewed video, wherein I speculate about the possible disruption to modding for Fallout 4 following the announcement of a next-gen update for the game. Back in April, to coincide with the release of Fallout Prime, Fallout 4 received an update that brought in new content as well as improved stability. The downside, however, was that, aside from a host of new bugs and glitches, many mods that had been made for the game in the 8 years since its release no longer worked. Unlike with the Skyrim Special Edition, the next-gen update did not drastically alter the game's basic coding enough to completely disable all mods completely. And so, many mods remain untouched, and many other were updated to work with the next-gen update. The update itself, though, is still considered very controversial. Was it good? Was it bad? Either way, it had a big impact on the community as a whole, one that many modders, modding projects, and those who are a part are still working to adjust to. The update, however, proved to only be a minor bump in the road for many of the community's larger modding projects, the most noteworthy among them being Fallout London. Taking place in the City of Villages, Fallout London follows the adventures of the Wayfarer as they explore the ruins of Old Blighty, searching for answers about their mysterious past. After being briefly delayed for their end of April release due to the next-gen update, Fallout London would partner with Galaxy of Games, more colloquially known as GOG, and release the mod for free on their platform just a few months later in late July. The mod quickly became an overwhelming success, seeing hundreds of thousands of downloads over the following weeks and months, and eventually hitting over 1 million downloads, allowing players to explore the first Fallout game set outside of the United States. Unfortunately, the downside of detailed, unpaid passion projects like these larger mods is that at times they just don't turn out like you'd expect them to. And sometimes, they don't turn out at all. Such is the case for Fallout Vault 13, which was a detailed recreation of Fallout 1 in Fallout 4's game engine. On August 13th, a demo for the mod was released, allowing players to explore the first major open-world area of the game, taking place in the valley of the Inyo Mountain. A month later, though, the project would be suspended, with the promise that an unfinished version of the mod would see release to showcase the team's hard work and dedication to recreating the original Fallout. While an official reason has yet to be stated at the time of this video, the team has gone on record to state that Bethesda and the next-gen update had little to nothing to do with their decision. A statement made to quell rumors that the studio played a role in the mod's cancellation, as many believed, and still believe, it did with the delay of Fallout London. While many of the upcoming DLC-sized mods will be released for Fallout 4, perhaps one of the most hotly anticipated mod projects, aside from Fallout London, had a very tumultuous year. Having been in development since 2021, Fallout Nuevo Mexico takes players to, well, Mexico. Earlier this year, however, future development of the game was uncertain, as all official social media accounts for the project suddenly went dark over the summer. This caught many fans off guard, as this wonderfully realized project that promised a lot of interesting features just sort of vanished. No explanations, no answers, just gone. That is, until out of the clear blue sky, an official reveal trailer dropped, showcasing more of the dark and brutal world that this project is promising to deliver. Nuevo Mexico has gained more and more attention as knowledge about the mod has grown. While the setting and the location itself is one thing, a big draw has been how closely the game sticks to pre-existing lore, as well as unused concepts from the original Fallout 3 as developed by Black Isle Studios, Van Buren. While I doubt we'll see any giant death robots, we already saw them in the Skyline Valley update, the Nuevo Mexico team beat Bethesda to the finish line by introducing playable ghoul races as an option for players to experience, as well as story elements from Van Buren, such as an escapee from a prison running experimentations, as well as a reservation specifically for ghouls within NCR territory. For now, though, the full story of what we can expect from Nuevo Mexico remains unknown. But it goes without saying that fans of the series can't wait to strap that big iron on their hip and walk the long, lonely road down to Chilangolandia. Ever since the death of beloved TV salesperson Billy Mays back in 2009, it seems that not a year can go by without it taking somebody with it. This year was no exception, as in the month of September, the community had to say goodbye to 3 big names in the franchise. Chris Christopherson, well-known actor, singer, and in this case, the voice of NCR Ranger Chief Hanlon, would pass away on September 29th, peacefully in his Maui home at 88 years old. While minor, his presence as the wizened old lawbringer, gazing out over what remains of Lake Las Vegas, is a welcome one for those traveling the wasteland. His words of wisdom and contemplation leaving a lasting memory in players' hearts. While the name Peter Renaday might not sound familiar, much like with Chris Christopherson, the roles he took on in the Fallout universe will. Dr. Henry, Heck Gunderson, Cannibal Johnson, but none as iconic as those of Nobark Nuna and the iconic meme lord of Dynamite, Easy Pete. The voice of many characters across his career, in film, television, and video games, Peter thankfully met just as quiet of an end as Chris, passing away in his Burbank home at the age of 89. While he may never speak again, the characters he has brought life to, both inside and outside of our community, will live on for decades more to come. Out of all those who passed this year, the one that stung the most came from within our own community, as the 7th of September would also mark the passing of Jason Damron, better known to many in the community as the storyteller of Shoddycast's own Fallout lore series. I remember sitting beside Chief Hanlon, listening intently to him talk, like a child visiting their grandfather. I remember hustling no bark at Caravan in order to get enough money for the augmentations from Dr. Usanagi, gripping Easy Pete's dynamite in my hand as I used it to protect Goodsprings. But nothing sticks out in my mind quite like the trance I would fall into whenever Jason would speak. I found Shoddycast at a very pivotal point in my life, in that weird, strange transitional period between college and entering the workforce, and I was enthralled by their Elder Scrolls lore series, and even more so by their Fallout lore series. Every upload was like Christmas, discovering and rediscovering more and more secrets about the amazing world of Fallout with each and every upload. It was magical in a way, the way the channel brought communities together around the shared love of storytelling. He brought a sense of knowing, of purpose, and life into the character of the storyteller. For 75 episodes, Jason filled our minds with knowledge and our community with culture. Whether it was discussing the experiments of Big Mountain, the rise of Shady Sands, the expansion of the Brotherhood of Steel, his presence and his voice was, I believe, one of the pillars that helped to shape the Fallout community to what it is today. The final episode of the Storyteller series aired on January 19th, 2017, and just shy of 2 years later, in October of 2018, the Fallout community would see the newest installment in this series with Fallout 76. While the game had its controversies around launch, I can't help but think of where the series and the Amazon Prime TV show that launched this year might have been retold, recounted, and re-examined through the storyteller's eyes. Perhaps we'll see another orator take up the storyteller's task. Perhaps not. But the people and the communities bettered by Jason's presence will never forget him. We'll always owe him a debt of gratitude, even if we don't say it. How will the Fallout community catalog our continued adventures without him? Well, as a wise man once said, that's a story for another day. For me personally, 2024 has been a whirlwind of a year. Drama and controversy inside the Fallout community felt as if it pushed me away somewhat, while at the same time, my own work has pulled me even closer to the series I love, and helped me to reach out and communicate with so many others like me. And isn't that the very essence of what makes Fallout Fallout? That coming together, building together, shaping communities that we want to see. We all want to help each other. Human beings are like that. We want to build things that will outlast us, things that will grow beyond our capability to care for it. As such, we put pen to paper, hammer to wood, fire to steel, to shape a better community and a better future for those still to find it. For me, that's what Fallout has always been about. That's what the community has always been about. For everything we saw in 2024, everything new, old, and returning, we continue to build, to create, and work to forge a better future. 2024 is the year of Fallout, not because of the new things that we got or the new things promised down the road. It's this moment right here, that part of the road we're on right now, giving us the best view of how far we've all come, how much we've built, and how much more of the adventure is still left out there, undiscovered, in that wide, open world.